Hey everybody, this is take two. I'm going to try to talk more gooder this time.
That's right. That's a good job.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another week of devotions. We're the week after, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving now. Kids are back in school. We're kind of right in between when Christmas break is coming, that anticipation of Christmas, right in the middle of Advent season. But we've got some incredible verses from Philippians for you. Philippians, very short book, only 4 chapters. Once again, we encourage you to read it because we're just picking out 4 little sections and going to talk about it this week. But let's go ahead and dive in. Let me open up with a word of prayer, and then I'll read the words for today. And then Chris is going to share a little bit about those. God, I just thank you again for another day, and I thank you for another week, and we thank you for the opportunity to dig into your word, to be encouraged by it, but also to be challenged by it and to grow. Lord, may you continue to be at work in us and to grow us in our faith. We ask and pray that in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so the very first one, we're starting off in chapter 1. It's going to be verses 3 through 6, and we both would say this from the heart because we would like to say this to you, to all of you who are listening to this, and Paul says it to the people he's writing to. He says, I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine for you, making prayer with joy, because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. And I'm sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ.
As PJ already said, we want you to hear this. I mean, this is Paul writing to a church, and he's saying that he thanks God for all of these people that he's working with and their partnership in the gospel, and he's praying with joy. And as PJ just said, we feel the same way about the rest of Community of Hope. And this morning, as I was praying for Community of Hope, as I do every time that I pray, and praying with gratitude, being thankful, but also recognizing that, as this verse says, I'm sure of this, he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. So while we're thankful, and by the way, I've also said this to him because I've worked with him for 20 years. In fact, over Thanksgiving, we're often sending texts like, hey man, thankful for you. So I said this, and I think that it makes me think of what verse is that? 5. Your partnership in the gospel for the first day until now. We've been partners in the gospel since...
For a long time.
Over 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
I'm thankful. But we're still working together because we're not done. There's still work to be done. And there's still work to be done in Community of Hope. So while we're thankful, we're also looking forward to what God is going to do. Now, you might hear this verse that I've got up on the screen quoted a lot on an individual level. I'm sure of this, that he who began a good work in you personally will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not sure that that's not true, but the you here in the Greek is plural. So Paul is saying God began something in the church. Jesus began something in the church. And he's going to carry that work forward until it's completed. And we know that the completion of that work is going to be really good. He began a good work, and it's going to end well. We know the end of the story. We know that the story ends really well for the church, that the church is going to be something that continues forever and ever, and it's going to be really great. Now, a caveat to that is whether or not you as an individual are part of that work. Well, we're actually going to hear about that later in Ephesians, I think 2 days from now, maybe 3 days from now. That's another matter, but you are invited to participate in this work that Jesus is doing in the church and through the church, and to celebrate the completion of that work someday, being sure of that work and seeing the goodness of that work. So that's the invitation, and that's also the encouragement, that Jesus is the one at work. And if you're on board with what Jesus is doing, and you're saying, Jesus, invite me in, bring me into what you're doing, it's his work. We already saw that last week. It's his work working through us. And he's going to bring it to completion. It's not up to you to bring it to completion. Just trust in him and watch really great things come to fruition.
Absolutely. And what he's doing is, it's redemption. It's the salvation. That's the big picture at work here. Not necessarily like you were saying on an individual level, just I'm going to be more patient tomorrow because he's going to be faithful to complete that work in me because I'm not there yet. He's gonna bring us to redemption, and he's gonna finish what he started, and the whole church is gonna reap the rewards of that and spend eternity with him.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So as you spend a little time as an individual pondering or as a family, we don't have questions for you. Once again, we just encourage you. What stood out to you? What jumps at you? Is there a specific verse, a specific word, a specific comment Chris made? What is God saying, and what are you going to do about it? And we encourage you to think about that, pray about that, spend some time reading this and pondering it, and then join us back tomorrow for another verse from chapter 1, actually.
See y'all tomorrow.
Bye, guys.